Good morning, Trevor. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Best Practices for OnePractice call series. How are you this morning, Trevor?
Sorry, Roland, I just could not find my mute button there. How are you? I'm fantastic.
Awesome,
Now that I can
awesome.
talk and everybody can hear me, yeah. So that's
Excellent, excellent. So we've got a few
step
new
one.
people on the call this morning, which is great to see. And as I said earlier, for those of you who weren't on the call, if there are people in your office who are using OnePractice software, if you can't get them on the call this week, get them on the call next week, guys. For the next month, we're going to be having a little bit of fun learning some things about OnePractice. So this week, Trevor, we've got some interesting things coming up. We're going to start off with the ATO key, which is really in your ballpark. Then we're going to look at what is OnePractice Mail. OnePractice Mail, some features and tips. So how to get the best value out of utilizing the software. I've been in the software industry for some time, and I find that people generally use 10 to 20% of software. If you look at all the functionality that something like Excel or PowerPoint has, and the guys on the call I'm sure can testify to this, that they only utilize a fraction of the functionality built into the software. People all utilize different functions of it, this is true, but still we only use a small fraction of it. So, Trevor, what we're going to start off with this morning is the ATO keys. So we got some stuff on the support desk, and there's the URL on the slides there for the support from HubOne. So those of you on subscription will have access to the HubOne help desk, and there's some tips and tricks about your OzKey. But talk to me a little bit about the ATO OzKey, Trevor. So where is your key store?
Okay, so firstly, the ATO key, most of the people on the call would know that is our key. That is your personal digital signature to sign into the ATO portal, and you need to have that. Otherwise, it gets a bit frustrating if you lose it, if you have to refresh your computer and so forth. So what I wanted to talk about, there's two parts. What I want to talk about is making sure everybody understands the purpose and managing that, and best practicing on managing your key store. And I want to talk to you about some new stuff in terms of some new browsers come through from Chrome. So let's have a look at the key store to start with. So I might share my screen so everybody can see
All right.
what we're
So,
talking about.
so we've got a combination here. In order to identify you to the ATO, there is a key or a sequence of numbers that uniquely identifies you. This comes in the format of an XML file. There is also a password that you use. So one of the things that's important here with the things like crypto locker going on, this is not the kind of thing that you want to lose.
No.
All right. No, so we don't want to lose this. So what we're going to do, Trevor's going to drill down to show us where the key store is in the profile. And one of the things here, while he's locating that, is we need to make sure that we're viewing hidden files. Okay. So if he double clicks on users, under the view tab, we will see that we've got the option over on the right hand side of the screen to show hidden items. Guys, this is important. If that isn't selected when he clicks on as he clicks on users here, there will be a folder. It's Trevor Shoemaker. There's a folder there that is going to be apps data, and you see you needed to select that. Okay, so selecting.
That's it. Yep.
All right. So he double clicks on apps data, and then he's going to go into one of his profiles. Now, with regards to profiles here, I don't want you guys on the call to worry too much about that. It's either going to be a local or a roaming profile. There could even be another option there called mandatory, but it really depends on how your system is set up. Click on local. If it's not there, click on roaming. In this case, Trevor's is under roaming, and he's got a folder called OzKey. We'll see there is the XML file we referenced, and that is the file that we are really looking to back up. So where do you back that up to, Trevor?
So what I do is I back it up to my OneDrive for Business. I put a copy of that my key in my OneDrive for Business. The reason being it's in the cloud and it's backed up there. So what happened to me a couple of weeks ago is I wanted to refresh my computer. I was finding it was just doing a few funny things. So I refreshed and got rid of all my files, and immediately that wipes out my key store, and I have to go and get another one if I haven't backed it up somewhere. So what I really wanted to highlight today was, one is, where is it? Two, it's your key, it's your personal key. Don't have your IT guys or someone in the office managing it for you. You should know where it is, and you should understand that purpose, and you should be managing it yourself. and then you can put it onto your computer, or if you get a new computer. So, like
Yes.
if you're lucky to get a new Surface Book or a new Surface Pro or something like that, it's really easy to go and set up then, because you've got your key store and you can just go and connect it. Now, for that folder to turn up, you need to have downloaded the OzKey software. And on our help screen with HubOne, that's where we've stored that, and we've shown you the instructions for getting that. So that's how you can download the software, and it creates that folder for you.
All right, so I'm going to jump back to that, and here we can see the link there, hubone.freshtest.com, and you guys can click on that link. You can also download the slides. Now, Trevor, we've also got a little bit of issue about which browser we use to access the OzKey system. So we strongly recommend Chrome with the OzKey plugin, and that is because Internet Explorer requires Java, and for those of you who are not aware, there are some security issues around utilizing Java. There's some vulnerability, shall we say, to put it politely, within Java. So whenever we have to access the OzKey system, all of our users, or a lot of our users, keep getting messages: I need to update the latest version of Java. I need to update the latest version of Java in order to access that system. Do you have such issues with Chrome, Trevor?
No, you don't need to have Java with it, and I think it's quite new, the Chrome OzKey, being able to access it. So we've had to previously use Firefox or
another type of
Explorer,
browser,
Windows Explorer, to be able to do it. Now we can use Chrome, and we're recommending everybody to get on, download it, the software using the Chrome application. In our help desk is all the instructions on how to do it, and then you can actually look at removing Java from your systems.
Fantastic. All right. So, guys, the link is in the slides, and please click on that link and make sure that you're using Chrome with the add-in to access it. Security is so important. We stress this all the time. We ran a whole series on security a while ago. Guys, this key, like Trevor says, is locked in to an individual. It's locked in with your password. So it's two-factor authentications. I need the key and I need the password. All right. Also, when storing it on OneDrive, this should be shared only with you, not shared with other people. Okay, so if you're thinking about upgrading your machine, store your OzKey and back your OzKey up to OneDrive. Please check out hubone.freshtest.com for any support documentation around this. All right, so we just needed to knock that one on the head first. Coming up next, Trevor, talk to me about OnePractice Mail. So you're going to show me a demo in it a little bit, but let's just get an understanding for those of you who are not utilizing OnePractice Mail, or for those of you who are using it at the moment and want to optimize the way that you're using it. This is really a custom app that plugs into Outlook or Outlook Web Access.
That's correct, and it's installed as part of OnePractice. So part of the whole OnePractice tools you get. It was previously called Mail Manager, so you can see that in some places. So we've now rebranded that OnePractice Mail. The new version, 4.1.3, comes automatically, so you get seamless upgrades all the time. So you've got an evergreen service, so that should be upgrading and should be automatically getting those upgrades through from there. And there's some amazing new features that are coming through that we're going to talk about today. You can access it via desktop, or you can access it via your OWA. In other words, you could go into your browser, go into Office 365 and type that in.
All right.
And access your version of Outlook or your mail from within there. So
exactly.
That's also a really cool point when if your Outlook's not working or you're getting some funny things going with Outlook, to understand that you can go and access it using your browser as well.
All right. What I do is I log in normally to portal.office.com, and then in the waffle in the top left-hand corner, I click on that. Its official name is the App Launcher, but we just like to call it a waffle because it looks like food. And then you click on that, and that'll launch OWA, or Outlook Web Access, which is the browser-based version of Outlook. So either added into your desktop app or into OWA. You can get it both ways. And as Trevor so rightly said, we call this an evergreen service. Like the cloud, it is constantly upgrading and breaks you out of that upgrade cycle. So this is a look at OnePractice Mail. Then what about connecting OnePractice Mail up to SharePoint, Trevor? How do you go about that?
Yeah, it's really easy. So firstly, if you have a look on the Document Center URL, firstly in the Mail Manager, you see the little plug. That means to connect,
Yep.
nice and easy. You
Okay,
enter your
plug it in.
Document Center URL. Your URL is in my case, it's https colon // turnitronaccountants.sharepoint.com / document center. Just note center is spelt the American way, ER. If you're like me and you're not very good at remembering that, all you need to do is navigate to your document center in SharePoint, and you just need to highlight and copy that across.
All right, so if I'm understanding you correctly, if I go to portal.office.com, click on the waffle, then go to SharePoint, the Document Center should come up at that stage.
Yep.
I click on the Document Center, then, I'm going to go Control C to copy, and then Control V to paste it into that window. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
All right,
and then you just type in your username, nice and easy, everything you use from now on, and your password, and connect.
Happy days.
Yep, and it's going to connect, and it's going to cache a list of your clients from Workflow Max. And very soon we're also going to have some other new features, so keep your eyes and ears open for some new releases that are coming through in the not too distant future with other databases as well.
And you don't have to worry about downloading or installing, because, as we said, it's a cloud-based evergreen service. Therefore, it will just add the functionality as and when we do version upgrades and new releases and feature packs into the OnePractice software. This will automatically update your version.
Yep.
All right. Fantastic. Okay, so then let's talk about some of the features around the OnePractice Mail when we're looking, because I mean this is all about document management. Last week we spoke about there's a couple of different ways in which documents and content can come into your organization. The primary way that people have been using for the last 20 years is really email and around the email system. This is why people have such large mailboxes. So OnePractice Mail is designed for content that needs to be filed in your filing system that is coming in through email, which is the primary communication and collaboration modality of most organizations. The other two ways are things that we're going to be discussing over the next few weeks, and that is Scan Document Manager and Template Manager within the client portal. So talk to me a little bit about using OnePractice Mail to automatically file content in your document management system. And the document management is going to be SharePoint, guys. It's not important that you know that it's SharePoint. I just need you to know that it's a cloud-based storage system for enterprise content management and collaboration. This is SharePoint is going to really be replacing your G drive, your C drive, your H drive, your F drive, whatever drive that you've got there. It's a slightly updated version of your old map network drives, and we'll be talking about some of the features that we get in SharePoint in the next few slides. So tell me a little bit about the OnePractice Mail features and the integration with SharePoint, Trev.
Firstly, it's really easy to work with. So your target clients will come through if the client is your primary contact in Workflow Max or Zero Practice Manager, it will come through into the system. You can separate and save your attachments separately. So you can leave the attachments always stay within the email, but they can also spit out and save as a separate attachment into SharePoint. So you've got that individual document saved separately, so you can search within that individual document. You can also add that sender as a contact in Workflow Max or into Zero Practice Manager. So by choosing the client and saying, I want that email address that's just I'm saving that file to, it will save that as a contact in Zero Practice Manager for you.
Fantastic. So it's bi-directional. Is that what you're telling me?
Bi-directional, yep. We'll
that's awesome.
There's an alert icon. It'll tell you whether it has been previously saved, which makes it easy to manage. And I'm going to show you in a minute how to manage your email so that you know that you're saving your emails into OnePractice and into the document management system. And there's a nice little click down the bottom there on the right-hand corner, open saved location. So then you can go and check that the document's been saved there and also work within that document as it's come through. So you're not having to go and navigate and find your way through from there. You can just quickly go straight through to that document. So there's a few other features too, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. You can save your folders now, and we're also going to touch a little bit on metadata today, which is really, really, really exciting.
All right, fantastic. So you know that open last save location. I've been working with SharePoint for longer than I'd like to admit. I'm going to say 15 years is how long I've been working with SharePoint, although some people think it's new. The technology's been around a long time. It's just, people are pattern recognition creatures, and they like to use folder structures. I click here, I click here, I click here, I click here. I find what I'm looking for. So that open last save location, for years I've had issues with SharePoint where people have said, I've saved a file to SharePoint, but I can't find it. And I say, where do you save it? And they're like, I don't know, you know. So it reminds me of the story about, Trevor, you've got kids, and if your kids lose their shoes or something, like your kids lose their shoes, they say, where are my shoes? Where are my shoes? And you've got to say, where you left them? Where's my file? Where's my file? Where you left it? So I love this feature because it's almost like that breadcrumbs feature in SharePoint where you can say, where did I last save this document? So when you've saved a document and then you want to go and work on that document, this gives you a quick, easy shortcut to automatically jump into your SharePoint filing system through a browser to that document. You can also do some things around file renames. Is that correct? You're going to jump into a demo, aren't you, Trevor?
I am. I'm going to jump into a demo and we're going to show you a few things on that.
Okay, so for those of you who aren't following Trevor, I've got his Twitter handle up there. If you're on Twitter, just look at the Zero Hero. That is my man Trevor, and follow Trevor on Zero, and then you won't miss these updates. Also, if you're on LinkedIn, look Trevor or myself up on LinkedIn, and every week we're going to be sharing little tips and tricks around OnePractice, and we'll be sharing invites to attend sessions like this either on OnePractice or on other tools around Office 365. So Trevor's going to jump into a demo now. Are you all right with it, big guy?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, just loading up. Fantastic.
Yeah, here's my little accounting firm's mailbox, and I can see on the right-hand side, I've got categories that are saying that those documents have been saved into OnePractice. The little blue things have been saved into there. So what I want to do is I want to jump into a couple of emails that I haven't saved. Haven't done it. All I need to do is click on my OnePractice Mail. I've already connected my OnePractice Mail up, so I don't need to. So there's my little connect to OnePractice Mail button. Running across the left, I can refresh. So if you do make changes, you add a client, you can't see them in there for some reason, it normally refreshes when you open up Outlook and so forth. But if you aren't seeing something, just click on refresh. And then also we can click on settings so we can see some little settings that are about that document. But it's a really easy application to work from. So I want to go and save that document. That's a refresh button on there. What I might do is I might get my Outlook version of it. I'll just go up into here. Nice and easily go into my mail version then, and I can show you within the mail version in the
Outlook Web Access.
Yeah, version. It's all in here as well. So I can work myself way down to that particular email there. Again, you can see that is my OnePractice Mail is in there as well. Yep. And I've got those same features, and in there I can choose the client. So in this case, I want to choose Young.
All right, so
Tom?
Because you've just done an update this morning, you now just jumped into the Outlook web app version of it. Yep. So like we were saying, we went to portal.office.com. You saw Trevor clicking on the waffle in the top left-hand corner. From the waffle in the top left-hand corner, he clicked on Mail. Now he selected that it's Thomas is the client. Okay, and then we want to save it to SharePoint.
Yep, and I can save attachments as a separate item, and that's always it. I can add that sender as a contact in the system, so if he wasn't a contact, so it's not clicking up, so I can play. And I can, as you said before, I can rename that file. So I could say tax 2014 sign.
Because you're going to be searching for this file. I mean, when you're renaming the file, really, and this is bringing in the discussion around metadata. Metadata, which we're going to talk about in a moment, is data or information regarding the file. It's not actually contained within the file itself, but it's information about the file. So here we're really editing the metadata of the file. Metadata would be the date the file was saved, the name of the file, keywords, who last edited it.
So it's the first round of that metadata. So what I clicked on there was I clicked on folders. Thomas doesn't have any folders because I'm moving away from folders. So we brought folders into OnePractice Mail and all of our tools because we were used to folders. That was how we did things in the past, and we've done it for 20 years and so forth like that. And when we first started off, we said, we don't need folders anymore, guys. But boy, we got some feedback, and people needed folders. But what I'm going to show you today
is a change management journey.
Yeah, our first look at metadata. So what I'm going to do is I want to save that, and I've put in some metadata into my system. So I want to save the 2004 year, and I'm going to put it to my tax matter. So we've got drop-down boxes. So it means that I don't have to go and set up all my folders every year and all of those sort of things within SharePoint. I can now manage the metadata that's coming through, and we're going to touch on that in a little bit more. What does it all mean and so forth?
But this is our start of our journey, is this correct?
Exactly.
Because this is a different way of working. Most of us are creatures of pattern recognition. If you used to map network drive, I click on the G drive, I go to clients, I go to Thomas, I go to 2014, I go to tax. But then we've got like 9 clicks all the way down this hierarchical structure. So are you telling me, Trevor, that you're moving away from that hierarchical structure and you're just bundling everything together, then using metadata to filter and sort it?
I'm going to show you a few things where this is all coming through. So I'm just going to go through and save a couple more of these so that we can all see the process and the real power of this all coming through. So let me just go through, click on that. I'm going to put in here 2015, tax. So let me do a couple of things so that we can sort of see that process, and then when that's finished. Now this speeds up. Now we talked about cache, Roland. Now I've jumped in, I've done a few changes, so it's getting faster and faster the more that I use it. So people go, oh, it's a bit, looked a bit slow.
It's a bit slow in the beginning. You're teaching, there's some, the terminology is fuzzy logic that we're using here, guys, but you're actually teaching the system how to file better. So just say if someone new started in the organization, in the first few weeks, they may be a little bit slow with their filing, all right? And what we do over the next while is we teach people how to, the best practices. That's what we're trying to do here. And then you're going to get faster and faster and faster. And the software has a bit of a brain in it. It uses this fuzzy logic. And now we've just clicked on got it last saved, and we can see all of the documents are in that folder. And we've got the metadata over on the right-hand side.
Yeah, really cool. And I got matter. And I can say, okay, I only want to see 2014 documents in this case. And I only want to see tax as a matter. But I can choose that. And that gives me my sorting. I've now got technically folders, but it's not bunched all together. But also when I think about that, I've also got all of my documents are all in the one place. So I'm seeing everything. It looks a bit messy, and I go, oh, I want to sort them out. So rather than having to go and drag and drop them into folders, it's already done for me as the documents are going through.
And could you sort via the matter, or could you sort via the year?
Yeah, and sort it as I want to. Sort it by the year if I want to, largest to smallest, I can turn it around.
Largest to smallest, or select a particular year. So if you said I only wanted stuff that it was in
I only want to see 2016 stuff.
Perfect, look at that. Guys,
now, when you're looking at those documents, one thing that you need to be wary of. So when we first go back into the clients in the document center, that's going to open up our OnePractice template manager for us on the right-hand side. What we need to do is we need to just click on documents here. That removes that, and now we're no longer in the mode of creating documents. We're looking for documents, and you can see that my metadata starts to show up in the systems within there. So now if I go into my folders, into my first folder there, and I can see then, okay, well, I've got Thomas, and I can open that up, and I'm getting my metadata. So the template manager is not coming through and reloading every time that I'm doing it.
All right.
It's speeding up that whole process. So if everybody knows, if I was back at the home or in the document center and I went through that process and I had you can see my little template manager loading up every time, and I worked my way through it, and I said, you can see it has to open up every time. So little tip and trick, or little that we've got there, is when you're looking for documents, click on documents, and then it brings up the metadata for you.
All right. So, guys, we're getting a couple of questions in the window regarding metadata, and this is good. This is what we wanted to do. We want to start a discussion around metadata and how we can better utilize it to improve performance, okay? Because I need you guys to start thinking about this. Each of your businesses run slightly differently, and this is a business process, okay? So what we're going to do, not next week, not the week after that, we are going to have a metadata discussion, and I'm going to show you how to set up metadata to add extra columns or fields in SharePoint, how we've done this with Trevor, how it integrates with Mail Manager, and I'm going to read that line out there. I've highlighted, I've made it bold. Metadata is useful.
Are you showing your screen now, Roland?
I'm showing my screen. Is useful in describing documents and could be used for categorizing and grouping documents, foregoing the need for complicated folder structures in your client folder in SharePoint. All right, so depending on your business, we can add metadata to a particular site, to a particular folder, or to a particular document library. So the term that we really use is a document library in SharePoint. And what the metadata Trevor has decided to add into the document center here is 2 bits of metadata, okay? And that is matter. What matter is this regarding in my practice? And what financial year is this regarding? All right, so we can add these extra columns. We can then create views to view these extra columns. So Trevor has worked through this whole process, but this is going to be a journey for you guys. It's not the kind of thing I want you to decide, tomorrow I'm going to set up metadata. Okay, we need some business planning around this, and you need to bring the stakeholders from your organization into this discussion. Okay, and then we've got to do best practices. So what I would strongly recommend, you start using the OnePractice tools properly over the next month. And in 3 weeks' time, we will show you how to do all of the metadata. It's no point in starting to implement the metadata if you're not using the OnePractice tools properly. They need to be done in conjunction with each other. So when we're automatically filing stuff from OnePractice Mail and we're selecting to add metadata to a document as we're filing it, we can make that mandatory or optional. In Trevor's case, he's made it mandatory. You cannot file that file into SharePoint unless you add 2 specific bits of metadata, and that would be the financial year and the matter. So guys, this is very important, and you can see on the slide here we've gone through and we said, add the metadata, do file renames. We've gone in there and we've gone through and actually created columns to view this. So Trevor, this was a bit of a journey for you, and I think it's going to be a bit of a journey for everybody on the call. So Bobby and Jacinta, we'll come back to you with answers around the work papers. Any type of file that you add in there can have metadata. The metadata is normally created based on the type of file. So for example, if you create an MP3 file, the MP3 file will have the genre of music that it is. A Word document doesn't have the genre of music. An MP3 file will have the album that you're listening to. An MP3 file will have how many bits per second that this was captured at. All of these things will be included in an MP3 file, but will not be included in a Word document, because a Word document doesn't have, whether it's rock and roll, the album was Stadium Arcadia, the artist was Red Hot Chili Peppers, the year was 1996. It doesn't have that stuff. But a Word document won't have that, but an MP3 file will. So guys, this is going to be a journey towards metadata, and metadata, simply put, is data about your data. Okay, so next week, what are we going to do? Trevor, template manager and DocuSign, is that right? Okay, so Trevor, next week, what are we going to do? Template manager and DocuSign.
Yeah, firstly, let me unmute myself again.
Nah.
We're going to do Template Manager. Similar to today, we're going to get into Template Manager and go through a full demo of it to make sure your team are using it. And as Roland's been really stressing, get your team on these calls so that they understand how this all works and how it all works. We're also going to touch on DocuSign and how it's been. I've been testing it and using it in my little business for the last few weeks. I want to show you some really cool stuff that we've been getting with DocuSign and those processes, and it's not as expensive as what we thought they were, but let's keep that moving through.
Okay,
Using
so
predefined
paperless, yep.
Yeah, focus on paperless. Save the trees. Read it on the screen and keep it green. I love all that stuff. Using predefined documents in document templates. So I want to go through from start to finish and talk about those templates. There's some amazing stuff going out there with some of our clients that are using Template Manager in some pretty cool ways. They're using it for ASIC and corporate secretarial. You can start to see now we've got our metadata that we can file that information very well. So all of that information's all available in Template Manager as well.
Exactly. And there's a lot of these documents out there. Sorry, and yeah, and tips and tricks. So there's a lot of predefined documents out there that you can download from like ASIC and that. So, I see a lot of people who do find and replace, and then there's errors in their document, Oh, I made a document for ABC company. I'm going to now make one for XYZ company. Find ABC and replace it with XYZ. Guys, come on, everyone on the call, we know we do this. We are trying to move away from that, and we're trying to use predefined templates. So next week, guys, please, if you're a champion within your business, all of our subscription customers have champions within their business. We're going to be forwarding. I want you to get everybody who uses the software onto the call. Half an hour of training here is going to save you an hour a week.
Yeah.
All right, and you start to add up the financials around that. We often speak about, what if Trevor and myself have the discussion. CFO says to the CEO, "What happens if we train our people and they leave?" And the CEO says, "What happens if we don't train them and they stay?" All right. So I know training is expensive and there's an opportunity cost, but we got to train our people. I want you to, everybody in your office, I want you to look around now and get these people on the call next week. Okay. So
also,
very important.
Calls, we are recording them. They are available. Just get this into the culture of your business to be jumping on these calls and this learning process. That's what we're doing. We're about just that really little quick snippet of this is stuff we've seen, and then it gets people thinking about how they can do things better.
All right. And Robbie's just reminding me that he is busy calling people with regards to security assessment just to analyze how they secure their environment. So if you get a call from a guy called Rob at HubOne, okay, know that it is a genuine call regarding your security. You heard it here, but just a heads up that Rob is busy calling a couple of our customers just to make sure that they don't have vulnerabilities and we can mitigate their risks around security. So, Trevor, that was awesome. I learned so much today. Thank you so much for your time and attention. To everybody on the call, it's been an honor having you on the call today. Thank you very, very much for your time and attention, and I look forward to you and your colleagues being on the call next week.
Thank you. See you guys.
Cheers.